Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. First tonight, a large-scale manhunt continues after shots were fired at police vehicles near New Norfolk, narrowly avoiding the officers behind the wheel. The person of interest has been identified as authorities ramp up resources to bring him into custody.
Searching for answers behind brazen late-night violence that saw a weapon turned on those enlisted to protect the community.
It would be a very distressing situation to become involved in. It happens very quickly, and they're just very fortunate and no doubt relieved that they're all unharmed.
Brighton's Robert Gregg identified as the man on the run, believed to be behind the wheel of this blue Holden, Colorado.
If there's a member of family or friends that are aware of where the person is, we'd encourage them, and ask that they contact the police.
Officers were travelling to a family violence incident near Glenfern, 10 kilometres southwest of New Norfolk, when 6 rounds were fired at the vehicle, leaving 2 windows shot out. Moments later, another police car was driving along Boyer Road to attend the scene when the gun was fired again, this time a near miss.
I'd say that it's a very close call for both people that were travelling in that vehicle.
A large area in the south of the state today became the focus of a major operation to find the 33-year-old.
With a person that's been using firearms, there's a significant level of risk involved, so we'll be using some of our tactical personnel to take that person into custody.
Again highlighting the real risks on the front line.
Look, the actions of the offender are abhorrent, and the actions that he took against our members could have led to a death.
Nearby residents reported hearing a search helicopter hovering above in the early hours of this morning, with a large police presence then scouring the immediate area before the offender got away.
You're always going to have people that are going to do things for reasons that people can't understand.
The staff impacted will be provided with ongoing support. Grace Evans, 7 Tasmanian News.
Our reporter Brianna Boylan joins us now. Brianna, what's the advice for Tasmanian Optus customers caught up in this data breach?
Kim, Optus has now contacted all customers whose personal details were compromised in this data attack. Any Tasmanians among them can visit their local Service Tasmania branch with a letter from Optus confirming fraud has occurred. They'll then be able to apply for a new driver's licence and number, but regular fees will remain. It's unclear just how many locals have been impacted, but the state government says it will continue to work with the operator and the federal government. Optus is also offering affected customers a 1-year subscription to a credit monitoring service free of charge. They'll be contacted over the coming days by Optus on how to access this service, Kim.
Okay, thank you very much there, Brianna. Well, State Parliament has returned for the first time since the death of the Queen, with familiar topics back on the agenda. Labor says there's still no business case for the government's proposed new stadium, but the Premier says Tasmania has to be bold.
New Monarch, same old theatre in the House of Assembly this morning.
Question about where they stood on Pokies reform and harm reduction measures.
On that day? Can you explain the Premier is misleading the House? I'm supporting new infrastructure in Tasmania. That is not correct.
I'm not going to put up with the constant interjections on the Premier.
Meeting for the first time since Queen Elizabeth died, it was also the first time Parliament sat since the state government's proposed new stadium was unveiled. The controversial plan, a popular topic.
Premier, do you realise how out of touch you sound to Tasmanians when you say your priority is spending $750 million on a stadium in Hobart?
We have to be bold and not cowering like the opposition who don't have a position on anything. And stand for absolutely nothing.
Labor also demanding answers about the business case for the project.
So we've got no idea. What are the maintenance costs going to be? What's the depreciation costs? Is it going to make a profit or loss?
Shane Broad, the least of the government's concerns. Federal Bass MP Bridget Archer joining the chorus this morning, questioning why taxpayers should be handballed the bill. The Premier confident he can thread the needle and deliver for all.
Our priorities will always be health, education, community safety and housing.
but we can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Including securing Commonwealth support.
The PM and I will sit down and engage in constructive dialogue.
All that goes to one side tomorrow as teachers walk off the job in state schools. The government kicking into the wind in its bid to persuade. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Meanwhile, independent MP Christy Johnston has blasted the culture of the state's racing authorities. It follows a new report into animal welfare, which contained more than 80 recommendations to improve governance. The MP furious the Office of Racing Integrity didn't contribute.
So it begs the question, what is the Minister doing? She's sitting on her hands, doing nothing when it comes to the welfare of animals. She ought to be ashamed and she ought to resign.
The government and Tas Racing are investing more money than ever before into greyhound and horse welfare to ensure that they are treated with dignity.
The Minister also says more than 30 of the recommendations are currently being implemented. And the Greens are also demanding answers about the future of senior staff at Launceston General Hospital. A number have come under scrutiny during the Commission of Inquiry into Child Sexual Abuse about their response to allegations made about staff, including James Griffin.
And we were very concerned that the Premier today had no specific response to our question about what he's going to do now.
We are having a governance review. And I'm not going to comment on individual employees, but it's also important that we comply with the Commission of Inquiry Act.
The Greens calling for those being investigated to be suspended while an inquiry takes place. 2 pilot whales stranded near Strahan have made their way well south of Tasmania after being refloated at Macquarie Harbour last week. They were tagged with satellite tracking beacons as part of rescue efforts after 230 whales beached themselves. Rescuers were able to save 44 of the mammals in the operation. The clean-up has now wound up, with all but 2 of the deceased whales towed out to deep water by Department of Natural Resources staff with help from local salmon companies. Access roads to Ocean Beach and the Macquarie Heads boat ramp have reopened. Tasmanians are gearing up for Mental Health Week, launching this year's theme of awareness, belonging, connection. It highlights the key aspects needed to boost wellbeing and build resilience.
We take great strides in reducing stigma and encouraging other people in our community to come forward and access very important mental health services such as a peer workforce.
It's not just about this week, it's about what they can connect with that will help them into the future as well.
Mental Health Week starts on October 10 with a range of events and activities to raise awareness. Hundreds of Tasmanian school students have taken to the streets, walking for peace and human rights. The event forming part of the Tamar Valley Peace Festival and hoping to raise awareness there is no National Human Rights Act.
Walking as one. Students starting a conversation.
I want people that are younger to start questioning the sort of rights, what's going on in the world.
The inaugural Launceston Schools Peace Walk for Justice, an Australian first.
We feel that we're leading the way for the nation because our aim is that human rights will become enshrined in all schools' strategic plans, all over Launceston, all over Tasmania and all over Australia.
I feel like this issue is definitely something that people are aware of, but not necessarily our youth, and I think they're the people that need to know about it.
About 200 students from 8 different schools took part today calling for a National Human Rights Act. Australia is the only liberal democracy without one.
More than half the population actually thinks we have a Federal Human Rights Act. So 51% of people think that we have a Federal Human Rights Act, according to this poll.
And now they're hoping to grow the event even further in coming years.
I hope that people are paying attention because I'm sure that this is a movement that's building and there will be more walks across the country.
Talia Jordan, 7 Tasmania News.
A new generation of startups is targeting Tasmania to pitch ideas to the public. 10 teams will be working in the state across 12 weeks, focusing on advances in food technology.
We'll be test their products in the market to get the exposure with customers, media, investors. And the main aim for us to prepare startups for their pitches to investors at Demo Day.
One is working with Tasmanian company Pure Foods to improve gut health. Tummy Yummy turns eggs that are too small to fit into a standard carton into a long life product.
Basically 24 eggs, so 2 dozen eggs per carton, which gives us an awesome opportunity to both extend shelf life, to take away space in your refrigerator.
The program is funded by the state government. A new housing project is giving young and vulnerable Tasmanians a chance to excel in their construction careers. The employment opportunity is due to a partnership between St Joseph's Affordable Homes and Centrecare Evolve Housing.
Working hard on this construction site and on themselves.
I wanted to get out of the house really, do something with myself, instead of just sitting around home all day.
These young apprentices chipping away on a 4-bedroom property as part of the Build Up Tassie Charity House project, seeing vulnerable Tasmanians into trades.
Young people just need an opportunity, and their Work Ready program brings them together to get themselves ready for permanent work.
A lot of them, a common one is pretty rough family life and home experiences up until now, or kind of got lost in the education system.
Coaches providing one-on-one work-related and self-development support.
That looks completely different for everyone. Some it might be literacy, others it's maths, others it's housing issues, others it's mental health, others it's physical health.
It's provided me support, housing, just heaps of stuff to make me grow as a man.
The land, a gift from the state government, today blessed by Archbishop Julian Porteous. Local businesses also helping out where they can.
We've had all of our suppliers and contractors within St Joseph Affordable Homes support us in donation of time, material and labour.
The house will be sold at an affordable price when construction is complete. The funds going straight back into the program to support another 50 participants. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
A Tasmanian historical group is on the hunt for a new home for more than 20,000 important books and local artefacts. The Launceston History Centre's collection includes many items that can't be found anywhere else in Australia.
The door opens on one of the country's most significant historical collections, most of it languishing in storage as it awaits a new home.
We have a lot of our collection that isn't here, in a container and in people's houses.
More than 20,000 books collected over the course of more than a century, all under the care of the Friends of the Launceston Mechanics Institute.
They are really rare. Something like 15% of the collection is held nowhere else in Australia.
The Launceston History Centre has been on the hunt for a new home after 3 local groups teamed up earlier this year. They want to combine their collections and resources to better serve local history buffs. Hopes to take over the former Patterson Street Barracks fell through when it was put up for sale.
It'll be a perfect location for our collection, but it's one of those things that we need to be realistic in, that we're unlikely to be able to afford to purchase that.
The treasure trove is currently stored in around a dozen places around Launceston. While the group says it's got the finances for a new spot, nothing's become available.
They're valuable because they've been created by the community for its own use.
A community use for keen historians to access for many years to come. Annie Green, 7 Tasmania News.
To the TSL, Launceston Football Club stalwart Jay Blackberry has announced he's retiring. He holds a competition record of 234 games over 14 years. In a message to his teammates, he credited the reason as being an old fella. He has won 4 premierships, 1 best and fairest, and is a TSL Life member. It's also understood Lauderdale coach Daniel Willing has announced he won't be continuing in the role next year. After a 2-year break due to COVID, Tasmania is preparing to return to the national hockey stage this week. Both Tassie Tigers sides are in the final stages of preparation for the beginning of the Hockey One season. When the league was last played in 2019, the men finished 3rd while the women finished bottom of the ladder. They opened their season against the Brisbane Blaze on Friday at the Tasmanian Hockey Centre.
Good evening. 16 degrees in Hobart and Devonport today, Launceston 17 and 15 in Burnie, 19 at Bushy Park, Friendly Beaches and Strawn 18, King and Flinders Island both 17, 16 at Low Head and a top of 11 in Lyawini. Mostly overcast conditions across the state today with low and higher cloud lying over the northeast. Mid to high level cloud streams over parts of southwestern Queensland and the Northern Territory, with thunderstorms over parts of Queensland and New South Wales. Afternoon convective cloud can be seen over the tropics, while the rest of the country remains relatively cloud free. Tomorrow's chart shows a low lying over the New South Wales coast, with a trough also sitting over the coast of Perth, around the tropics and down the east, while a high is lying over the northern bight. Southwesterly winds of 10 to 20 knots, tending more southeasterly in the northeast, and west to southwesterly swells around 3 metres in the west and south, and around 1 metre in the north. A shower or two in 16 in Hobart and Bothwell tomorrow, Geeveston at 17 degrees. 21 in Launceston, a shower or two for Devonport, and a top of 18 in Cressy. A possible shower in Burnie, Strawn 15 degrees and partly cloudy in Curry. St Helens 16 and a shower or two and 15 degrees in Swansea and Orford. Showers on Thursday more frequent about the east and south, with light snowfalls above 800 metres in the evening. More showers about the east, southeast and central areas of the state on Friday, mainly fine elsewhere with morning frost patches. And Saturday, fine and partly cloudy with areas of morning frost and light winds. Launceston 17 and 16 degrees in Hobart. Across the country tomorrow, showers in Brisbane and Sydney. Melbourne 16, partly cloudy in Adelaide, and 36 and sunny in Broome. And right now in Hobart it's clear and 12, Launceston partly cloudy and 13, and Devonport 12. And Kim, the weather's not that exciting tomorrow.
Doesn't sound it. Thank you very much, Victoria. And that is all your news for now. Thanks for your company this evening. It's good night. Bye-bye.